Fine. So, good afternoon, everybody. Hello, welcome back. I'm Nicolas Nico. I'm the CEO and founder of Cluster, and this is one of the webinars I do on a regular basis. This time we are going to talk about what's new in the new edition of Cluster. This is the 2021.4 edition, the fourth major release of Cluster for 2021. One more major release will come at the end of this year. So let's say that, and we are a bit late on doing this what's new, and we are going to have a new what's new also during January, where we are going to discuss the new additions to the software, the new features for the 2021.5 edition. Today we will stick and mainly present what is added in Cluster for the 2021.4 edition of Cluster, which came out end of October. It has been about a month that is out. Many of you may have already seen some of the changes we are going to describe today. So the goal here is to give an overview of all important major changes that we have done, improvements and new features. Of course, there are 1,000 other smaller things that we have added to the software, improvements, fixes, things we do on a regular basis. I'm not going to spend too much time on those, but wherever I have the capability of presenting something to you, I'm going to do so. So the agenda will be what is new in the latest edition of October, end of October, what is coming in January, tips and tricks. I will try to present different tips and tricks. For you that you know Cluster well, maybe those will be well known. For you that are new or prospects and you are interested to know more about what Cluster can do for you, maybe some of those tips and tricks will be very, very much interesting stuff. So let's start, and then hopefully at the end we have some Q&A and see if you have any questions that is worthy to discuss it. So a lot of changes. Sorry for the title is not in the transportation module. I forgot to change that. Let me change it in a second. This is what's new. Okay, so sorry for that. I just realized it. So we are going to discuss about the new student list. First of all, then we will go through the other things. So let's start with the new student list, and then I'll come back to this foil to give you more information about all the rest. So the new student list came after a lot of people have done complaints about the fact that we have too many different lists, different kind of columns in each list, different filters. It was kind of messy and difficult for them to find which list they need to go to have the information they want. And also there were another complaint was that we didn't have all the information we wanted in the list. It was difficult to manage and export. So we thought we need to do a lot of work there because the student list is mainly one of the most important things for the back office employees. So let's go to the student list and start describing what changes we have done and why. First of all, if you remember that is old, when you open this list, the default list is defined in the user profile. So in my user profile here, if I go here to my profile and open the new tab, you will see that in the settings you can define which is the default list and the default status of the student that we want to use. So if I press settings here, I have card view and all other lists. So I can select which one list should be the default list when I open the software and first time I visit the student list. In my case, it's card list, and this is the registration status, all and so on. So this is the reason that here I'm in a tile view. But if I go view, grid view, then I get the list. In reality, this change, this backlog, this new feature is related to the students per educational program, per subjects, per year, per class, per service. Those 5 views have now been unified, and in reality, the view is a different grouping of the same set of data. They have exactly the same columns, exactly the same filters, and they have exactly the same logic. Now, in the advanced filters, you may have some modifications based on the view you have, and you may have also some extra actions in the bulk actions, or the same action may work a bit differently because you have a different view. But in general, it is one common view now. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 views together with the grid, with its a normal symbol list of all students. Now, the first big change here you see is that the student status now has been moved into the filters, and the reason is because now we have added the multi-select capability. So now you can select registered and another status at the same time. That was not possible before. If you select nothing, then all status are there, are selected. The filters on the top now they work independently. That was also the case before, but now we have done these improvements on that. And this filter basically is used to filter the classes, the classes filter. So we can filter the class for main classes, for normal classes, for all type of classes, or based on class type. That will filter the classes here. Sorry. Now, when I open this list, you will see I have already a lot of columns by default, and the columns I can see can be modified using this button here. Now, one of the differences you see here is that there is the save button here that it will save your preferences in the database. So whenever you log on now to Cluster, even from your home, wherever you are, from a tablet, you will see exactly the set of columns, the same set of columns. You'll be able to move up and down any column, so you can move the photo a bit back. You see there is no changing happening. Before we had this, every time you change that, it was a change happening on the back, which is delaying things very much. So there is no change happening. And then there is a lot of new fields here that you can enable and disable, like the custom fields. So this all fields completed, students enrolled in external systems, common languages. Those are all custom fields, so it will be different from customer to customer. You have some buttons that you basically see information like the registration, financial, medical. So if I do save, that is saving things in database, and then you see the grid refresh, and you get the new list that you have selected. So it is a full new set back in the database that is going to bring all the data. Unless you are lucky and it doesn't work, like it happened in my case, but it was just a matter of timing. Now, registration, financial, medical are 3 columns. You can have more information without opening the student form, like here. You can see the financial overview, so you do not need to go one by one, open all the students. You can go student by student and check the information. Re-registration, the student has been sent to the next school period, has been came from previous school period. So this one has gone already to 22, 23. And then the medical information, where we can see all the medical information of the student, the important information about the important medical information of the student. Now you cannot move the columns like this as you could before. You need to go here to move the order of the columns. It is the only way you can do it from that button here. Okay. One of the important, give me a second, please. Sorry for the interruption. One of the important things here, and one important button is this one. That button will export into a file that you can name it here as you wish. All data you have in the grid for the first 10 or 20, up to 20,000 rows, so up to 20,000 students. This is a bulk export that takes all the data into Excel. Okay. Now, in the bulk actions, you have unified the bulk actions. Whatever is related to an action that we need to select a student, or most of those are here. Okay, one of the new things that we have added is that if you add students here, there is a bulk edit where you can go and change some fields. Now, for the time being, we have only 5 fields, but more fields are coming here, and it will be, in case of multi-select, will be add remove actions. Single select will be just selecting the value and replacing the value. That is also valid for date pickers and Boolean flags. Also, we have things like change subjects enrollment status. Here, basically, you can select students. You can play with the selected students, or you can select a specific class or a year, and then you can set a specific status for all the subjects enrollment status. So what this action does basically is, let me open this in a new tab. It's going to change in a bulk for all selected students or all students of a class. It's going to change the enrollments and the status you see here, this one. One of the interesting things here we can do is we can come here and say for the selected students, you can say if there is a pre-required subject and the status of the pre-required subject is failed, then you can put another status in the next subject. So that is used very much in a higher education. So if you haven't passed the previous subject, the next one should go to a status waiting to pass the previous one, for example. You can create this kind of status. The pre-required thing that you can define, which is a pre-required for a subject, it can be done either on the level of curriculum if you are higher education, or in the level of subjects if you are a K-12 school. So that is part of the settings of the subject. Or, as I said, if you are in a higher education, it's part of the properties of the subjects in the curriculum. So if you go to the list of your courses, you can go there and find a course and set for any course the pre-required one, okay, which is this one. Can be multiple. So in this case, you need to pass 2, for example, in order to be able to stay on that one as enrolled. Or otherwise. Other things here you have, it is now we can from here send initial invitation to the selected users, either to the student or to the parents. So the initial invitation, you don't need anymore to go to the account, and from here you can filter with a more flexible way and directly send the initial invitation. This is another thing that is quite important as an action. Another thing that you will see, and also this is one of the changes that we are going to discuss in more generally, is that Classnet now allows you to send an email to the student or to the parents of the students or to the guardians, to the financially responsible people, and this email can be based on template or it can be written by you and then has a different PDF attached. The PDF is a report that's generated, and then this PDF can be attached to a different email. Alternatively, you can create PDFs and save them in a zip file, and then Classnet will inform you that you will be able to go and download this zip file. So you can select 100 students or 1,000 students and create 1,000 PDFs with a different information per student. So this is a bulk reporting, for example, capability. You can get the selected users, or you can select users based on the class or the year. Then you can send email or export data from it. That basically means that it will create a zip that you need to download. So let's go this option. Then next you can select a report. I will show you in a second how a report is presented here. Any report that takes a student code, a student ID as a parameter can be added here. And provided that there are no more parameters, that you can go select that, and then the system will open the other parameters. You can select all other parameters that you want, and then based on that, you can go next and So you can select whatever parameters you want. Okay, so this is the groups from the selected students, and you can go next and then select the recipients, for example, parents, and then either you can create a custom message or you can add a template, and based on that template, we are going to send the message. The CC recipient is what we can do is to send CC the email to another email account. So you can put any free email account. Oh, sorry, not a free email account. You need to find an employee. So you can find an employee and CC the employee. Okay. So for each email sent by Classer to a parent, an email will go to this employee also. So this is a bulk a service that works on the back. You finish that, then a service run, and eventually at one time all emails will be sent, and then you will be notified with a internal message that it will come here to the message box. If you go and select that you want to export the data, it's exactly the same operation, more or less. You select the report, you select the file name, and then it will create a zip file for you. That's the difference, basically. Now, another interesting thing that we added here in the bulk action is to add or add a calendar event. Here, actually, you can take the selected users and add them to a calendar event, to existing one, or find existing one, or create a new event. So you can create an event, you invite, let's 10 people, and then you want to invite 10 more. You can go to the list of students, you can do filters, you find the students, and then you can add them to events. So this is another new feature that you find here. The rest of the features, I think they are already, they exist before, like change the status and so on. Another interesting thing here is show students on the map. So we can select a number of students. Let's select a number of students here, not too many. Show students on the map. I think you can see up to 100 students. And then let me zoom out because I think the students are in a different city. Here they are. And you can see exactly where the students are on the map. Okay, so you can see the distribution of your students in your area. One thing I forgot to discuss is the advanced filters. The advanced filters exist in for all views. You can select here things like, for example, nationality, and find who is Greek in the school. And by pressing here apply, the system will do a filter and find the Greeks. The same thing you can do with we can add multiple values, of course. Here you can do with other things like religion, like gender, find all females, males, and you get them here. So you can see in the school all the males are. There are 220 entries. Of course, you can combine this with other things. You can send all males that they do mathematics year 6, and that will find all the boys they do mathematics year 6. 26 entries. The advanced filters can have, okay, I want all this, and also whoever does chess, extracurriculum activity in the afternoon. So this is all the boys, they do mathematics 6 and they do chess also. I suppose I have a couple of those, maybe not. I have 11, and so on. And then you can also make, okay, and the age is less than this, or they have birthday today, or they have been registered from the previous year, or they have been registered to the next year. So a combined set of filters that can be added here. Of course, if you want to do more advanced things, you can always export the data to Excel and start playing with pivot tables with more advanced filters and so on. So this is a first set of changes we're done. Another thing that you will be interested to know is that if you use extracurriculum services, it's the weekly view of services. So we can see on the weekday, on the week level, sorry, per day, the services that students have and which day they have it. Now this is a demo, and I think most of the users, they have it either in those time or Monday, but you can see here that this student, he has a few hours of this 3D printing design in every week, different hours. So you can, and if you put color on your extracurriculum activities, that looks very interesting and easy to manage. A similar view you can have with a bus usage view. Again, you can see the routes they use every day. So those two are mainly for K-12 schools, but services also can be used by other type of institutions like training centers and so on. So you can see here all the different routes the students have, and then you have different information here like the extracurricular activities we charge them, the enrollments they have. So let me find one student that has some information. I think Grexy has. So you can go here, you can see the enrollments he has, the timetable of the student. All these can be with one click, you can see them easily and work with those. And then where was the last check-in of the student today in the campus? In this case, there was no check-in. So that is the first round related to the grids. Let me explain you how we get reports into the bulk sending of reports. That can be done for any report that has a student as a parameter. It can be done in the reporting report designer. Now, for that, you need to be full admin. This one is administrator, but it's not full admin. So let me go here. It can be full admin, a civil administrator if they have. It's a matter of privilege, basically. So reporting, report designer. So I can find a report like letters, and then any report, as in the properties, I need to have this bulk action for student. So it's going to work in the student list. Eventually, this same feature will come for teachers, for parents, and so on, for all grids. And what else I need? I need the multi-select. So it should be multi-select of student codes, more or less. So you can send, the system will send all the student codes and then generate the emails for each student or the parents of the student. So that is related to the bulk setting of. So that we have covered this one, and we have covered this one now. So so we have done this one, and we have done this one. Let's go now to the next one. Changes in the admission module. A lot of changes in the admission module, a lot of improvements. And we keep improving that. It seems to be this #1 module that new customers buy, actually, together with core. That is mandatory. If they buy something, they buy admission. So, and the reason is that all schools, they try to streamline all operations and make them completely digital. So what we see is that schools and higher education institutions, training centers, they expect that nobody will ever come to secretariat to do any operation anymore. That is completely old-fashioned. Everything should be done online, and that is what Cluster tries to do. So, and this is the reason that the admission, the registration, all these operations, usually they need to be online. So let's see what new things we have here. So this is, I've logged on here as an applicant who is a parent. So the first thing you see, and you can enable here, it is that you can have an applicant who is a parent who can add multiple students. So I have applied for the student and I haven't completed yet, and I can apply for a second student. So I'm a parent and apply for 2 kids. The same thing, of course, an existing parent can do it from the parents portal. So if I move to the parents portal, which is parents portal, where is the parents portal? Let me find, give me a second. I lose here I'm a parent. Okay, I can apply for a new student. So it's basically the same thing. The difference is here I'm an existing parent. I have already students in the school and I want to add one more kid. In the previous case, I'm a completely new parent and I want to add 2 kids to the school. Now, any change I'm going to discuss from now on, it is the same thing for higher education in K-12. So it is the same thing for applicants and that are students, and for that case that I'm a parent who adds a student. The first thing you can see, and for you that you have seen already the admission module of Classer, is that we have we had a mode that you can add the personal data and then you create multiple applications. That is an excellent way of moving forward. If you are a higher education like a university and you expect multiple students or a student to apply to multiple programs. So you are a student and you want to apply to electrical engineering and to mechanical engineering, and you hope that you will go for electrical engineering, but if you are not accepted, at least you can go mechanical engineering or you can go civil engineering and so on. So you're a student, you apply for multiple programs. And that was how initially we built the admission portal of Classer. So the process was I add all the personal data and then I add multiple applications for different programs. That is a very good way of moving forward if you allow students to apply for multiple programs. If this is very unlikely, then you are another category of customers that you want the students first to select a program where they want to apply and then fill in all the data. This is a typical situation for a K-12 school. It's a typical situation for training centers and so on. So that is a setting that you need to change if you want to have the educational program first or last. So in this case, you see it is first. Now, if I go here to the settings, but I will go to 22-23, here you see I apply for 22-23. So let me change and go to 23 and then go to admission settings. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a change on the settings and use application based. That basically means that I will create multiple applications. So if I do a refresh here, you will see that the educational program selection has changed now. So I'm going to have two kids. Let's go to this one and continue with application. And it is last one now. So now the difference is when I reach this point, I can add multiple applications. That was the previous way of using the admission portal of Classer. Most of you will already know. So what I'm going to do now, sorry, give me a second, guys. I'm going to show you the new way. So I remove the setting, save, and I go to the new way. Let me refresh. So the new way is that in the admission portal, firstly we select the program and then we go next. So I will select here the program. I want to go to year 6. Now, if this is enabled or not enabled, this is a setting. Which streams are enabled is a setting. If it's only one, it's pre-selected. And you can also define for which years you allow the student to select a stream. Now, for you that you don't realize, you don't know what a stream is basically a way to separate students in year 6 before we put them in groups. So in a K-12 environment could be a normal program, international baccalaureate program, or the American program, the national program. This is a way to separate students. They do 2 different streams of studies. And you separate them. In another case can be they do science or they do language stream, and they are year 12. Streams may be important only specific years. In a lower years elementary school, maybe there are no streams. As they grow up, they may select streams. Don't confuse this with classes, because classes is how we select them. Oops, I press accidentally, I jumped this one. The next one is the personal data. For you that you know the admission module of Classer, you know that it's a form where we can allow an applicant to add all data that we want him to add. The form is fully configurable. We can define what fields, the order of the fields, the labels of the fields. Of course, it's not that we can add any field. We can add any field that exists in the student form. Okay. One thing that we have added here is the ability at any place to add a file. So in any of these sections, you can add files. So this is something new. This file will be saved in the files tab of the student. So if I go to the admission and open here the available fields configurator, we can go and enable the files or disable the files. So you can do this invisible, and by doing save, if I do refresh, this will go away. So this is a new thing that we can add here. Here we have also some changes. We'll put some mandatory fields here. This is the mail of the student, the addresses, financial data, who pays, and here in the parents data, I can add more if I want. I don't want to add the mother. I can add more data about the father or the new father, and I can add the relatives. The type of relatives now we can add is also configurable. Before it was not. So now we can have specific type of relatives that we can add. The next thing is the enrollments. Here, in the enrollments, basically, we haven't done many changes. The most important is now I can enroll or re-enroll to a service or extracurriculum activity without the need to go and do a pop-up and select things, which before was the case. Then we go to Fanasa. This is completely new tab on that level. Here I can say I have some terms conditions I can write here as a school, and then the student, based on what they have selected and what is billable, they can select here the financial installments analysis. Here, for example, they can select I want to pay per month or prepaid. Based on that, the system will give me here the analysis of installments, and also the price and the value I have to pay can be different. I can have a set of discounts that allow the user to select. Those discounts are subject to rules that are based on dates, based if there are 2 kids. These rules can be obligatory, can be they can basically remove completely the discount from the list if you don't have 2 siblings in the system, so on. All these are configurable, new stuff. You can create automatically financial arrangements. The idea is even that the whole process starts, they do all their applications, you accept them, and then they pay online. I'm not going to present this today. That is a very big thing to present, and it will take more than 1 hour. But keep in mind that now Classes supports the whole operation. The applicant parent gets in, creates 2 students, he pays everything, he pays deposits or the prepayments, and the applicants get registered. Nobody needs to create financial agreements, or they need just to modify, do small changes. The majority of the job is being done by the parents. The next thing that is also a new stuff is the transportation, where basically, again, here we can configure how we want the transportation enrollments to be taken. The parent can give a different preference per day or one preference for all day. They can select an address from the map, or they can select an existing address. I didn't add any address, so this is the reason that it doesn't exist here. Who is responsible, a parent or a relative, for the student to pick up the student from the bus or deliver the student to the bus, and so on. So here we can select again the same address and so on, write some comments, and that is for all days. But if I want, I can change the dates. It can work with addresses, with stops, or a combination. That is also a matter of configuration. That configuration can be different per year, so a different configuration for younger students, or a different configuration for that campus, and different configuration for the other campus. So that is ready to the transportation. Then we go to the application form, more or less, where all the custom fields, for you that you know how we build that. All these are admission documents. We can create different fields, different sets of documents. We have added a lot of functionality here because we have seen how much this is used by different customers, and they need to do different things here. So one thing that we had before, but maybe most of you don't know that, you can, for example, select the language I speak, and then I can add new and add a second language I speak, and so on. So this will give me the ability to add multiple entries of the same stuff. Here you see this medical information. This medical information, it is quite a lot of fields. Before we had problems to add a lot of fields, different fields. How do I do this now? The way of doing this is by presenting multiple admission documents under one admission document category. Let me explain this. So this medical information, it is built in the main settings, consents and admission data. So here, let's say that we have medical information. So let's filter with medical information. See here, we have 2 active medical information, and here it's the dynamic document category. So if I open this in 2 new tabs, you will see that I have some fields in one admission document and some fields in the other one. So we have these doctor names, medication, illness, allergies, the telephone number, medical aid scheme twice, and then in the other one I have name and surname and signature. Okay, so but I want all these fields to be under one box with the name, medical information. How do I do that? The trick here is called dynamic document categories and the selected medical information. Where do I configure that? This is done in the drop-down list. Like anything in class that it's a drop-down, you need to go to the drop-down list. So it is system, and this is document categories. So by the time you find document categories like medical information, you can say if this is a unified layout. The fact that it's unified means that all the headers of any admission document disappear, so that will disappear, and all fields get under one common box. This is the result. Okay, so here normally there is a second label that appears, or it's hidden, and there is a split. So if I come here and I remove that and I make refresh, this will split in two sections. The allow multiple entries, basically it will mean that enables the add new button here, add new button, so you can take a whole new section with all the data again. Okay, so twice medical information, so you can add the same thing twice. Another interesting thing you can do is the following. You can go and you want to separate the medical information to be a separate tab. So what you want to do is to add here a tab called medical information. So how you can achieve that? You can go to the admission settings here, and in the general settings, you can go and say admission data categories to be displayed as separate tabs. So I want the medical information. So now that section will go away from the main tab and will create its own, it is a separate tab. So let me refresh and go again to the application flow. And you see that I have created a new tab with new custom fields. So now we can create a limited set of tabs, more or less. Okay, so if I create 20 categories and I will create, you see here, this new medical information has only that information now. It's a completely new stuff. So another thing you can do is you can create a question that based on the question, you can go and enable or disable the next set of fields. How do you do this? So you do this again by going to the admissions settings, and you need to do add a question here. Okay, so it can be yes, no, or consent. Okay, so I agree that the school keep all medical info, and that is public, so it's a yes, no. And in the properties, I can define that if it is positive, then all the rest will open. So if I do save and retain, let's also split the unified, so we have separate things and move let's move everything. So we'll see now all the changes in one. So you go to the medical now, you will see new things. You'll see two sections. One section is visible only based on the yes and no, if I haven't done everything correctly. So here is the consent, but I think I did something wrong. So you see now that I have two sections here at the medical information. That says that the add new has disappeared, but I have done something here. I forgot to set this public. Okay. So complete. It will go to the medical. Hopefully this is correct. Yes, now I consent and everything is presented. So there is one consent and then everything is presented based on that. So you see that they have this ability to do some flows now in this kind of information. So this is new stuff for the admission. So let's go next. The next one, we have done this one. The next one is related to the satisfaction survey in the admission process. Now, that has two parts of the development. One part has been done already. The second part is that basically we can open satisfaction quizzes in the admission portal for the applicants to answer. It can be satisfaction, it can be just quizzes, can be also entrance examinations based on quizzes. For the time being, what we have done is that in the student list, you can go and assign for any student a quiz to be answered. So the scenario here is the following. You have an applicant coming to your desk. So this is still the scenario where somebody comes to your office, and you do the application process, the admission process, and you want to get a satisfaction feedback, so a quiz back. So how do you do that? You can assign a survey here. You can, let me find Grixty. Sorry, I'm in the wrong place. So let's go here. I'm in the wrong here. This is the reason I don't see Grixty there and everything. So great. This works in the student form, also in the grid list. So here, I can select any student, assign survey. Who is going to answer that? The student, the parent, and so on. That is configurable. I will show you in a second. Who is the parent who answered this? And this is a survey we want to ask. By the plus submit. That can open in a tablet. You can do this in a tablet and you give it to them to fill it in. Okay, if that's in front of you. In the next edition, that will be possible also in the admission portal. So if you do online, they will do it. They will answer at the end. So they can give an answer. You can write whatever. This is, of course, a quiz that you can go and build in the quiz module. You need the quiz module for that, and you need the admission module. That is a combination. It needs both admission and quiz. So by the time you answer all this, you can submit it. This information, it is found in the student. If you open the student, here you go to the admission data. And there is the quiz here. You can add multiple quizzes, okay? And you can submit from here, you can delete them, you can resubmit it. So you can assign survey from here also to parents or student guardian, and then the quiz, and then add a new answer and so on. How do you configure that? The way to configure that is in the academic tabs, in the quiz management, quiz settings. You know to go to the quizzes and set one or more quizzes that you want to be quiz types, quizzes you want to be available for that process, and who is going to answer. The availability is in the drop down. That is quite simple. This is what it does. The next thing related to the quizzes is evaluation of teachers. So we want teachers to be evaluated by other teachers or employees. For the time being, we have implemented the employees part, the teachers coming. So we want employees and teachers in reality, both, to be we can quizzes, answers, surveys about the performance of the teacher or the performance of an employee, and we want this to be added into the system. So you see here we can add a range. So from 1 to 10, for example, that gives you pass, not pass, good, excellent, things like that, and the type of calculation, if it's a summary or average of the marks you give in the quiz answers. The next thing is to create a quiz and say that this quiz is about evaluation of teachers, and then distribute. That is basically all. The next one then is, in the quizzes. So you have quizzes. So surveys. Here you have, for example, evaluation of teachers. You need here to say if this is for teachers and employees. So I've said here this is for both educators and employees. So let me use only for educators. Set and close. The questions are below. For you that you know quizzes, that is pretty trivial. And then distribution. I want to give this distribute this survey to people, so I can create a new distribution and then say that I want for educators to be for educators to give evaluation about the institution, or employees to evaluate educators. So they have basically a manager who gets teachers and starts evaluating those. For the time being, this is what we have done, but there has more work to be done. We know that, like create hierarchies, we can evaluate who. Now it's kind of, you can do specific, you can add here specific participants. You can do it a bit manually. We want to automate that in the future. Okay, the result of that, the evaluations, you will see it in the quizzes, quiz answers. You have evaluation analysis, where here you will find for educators, for employees, the marks they've got, okay, who has done it, the analysis of the answers, and so on. Okay, and the result, the total, and based on the scale, the marking rates, it will give you a final letter for evaluation of the teacher. So this is what we have done so far for evaluation of teachers, more to come. So now we've sent those two. That is an interesting feature. What we want to do here, we want to achieve, is a lot of schools, they use just internal messaging in Cluster. So because it allows for mobile app to do chatting, send messages back and forth with all the security provided by Cluster and all this. What we want here to do is basically to go and enable the messaging. And when I send an internal message, I want an email to go to the user that an internal message is waiting for him to read. Similar to what LinkedIn does, Facebook does, and so on, with the notification that you have a message in the messenger, for example. So how do you enable that? You need to go to the drop-downs list and find the message categories. So any message category can be enabled to send notification messages. Okay. So you need to have this checkbox here. So for any notification message category, you want to do that. And the next thing is to create a template. So you need to template here. So you go to the templates and you search for message. This is a template. You can copy it. For the time being, it's quite simple. The date and the sender, who sent you a mail and when. In the new version, more are coming here, multiple templates, different template per category, and also the ability to have even a set of the subject and a set of the body, a part of the body. So the first 100 characters of the body, something like this. And then view more and you read it on the in Cluster. So that is another interesting feature asked by many people. The next thing, it is related to CRM. Basically, we can create now 2 tabs in the CRM entry, so we can add more fields. Basically, that is the completion section, which when you fill it also, you can lead to different other actions. Let me show you this. So let me go to a teacher here. I think this is a teacher, yes. So let's say the teacher create a new CRM action. Create new. Let's say daily marking. This is how it looks now. What I need now is 2 tabs on the left, on the right, sorry. So I want 4 boxes here with different information. How do I do that? I will go to the list of CRM configuration, CRM categories. I will find the daily. Okay, and I will open that. And I will say I want to show completion tab. There will be the 2 labels that I can configure here and put whatever title I want. So I can put label 1, label 2, label 2, save. Okay, and now if I go here to the teacher, let me see if I don't remember if you need to refresh. We'll see now in a second. Daily, student daily remarks. No, you need to refresh. Go back. If you do refresh, or you can press back here to go to where you were before. So you don't need to follow again the whole process. So we go directly to the create. Daily marks. Now you see label 1, label 2 with more data in the completion form based on what I've done in the completion form. So this is in the CRM daily marking. If you change here the labels, the time here you can define if you want to be this the label for the comments, the two labels. So you can configure everything from here. So I can remove that. Otherwise, this one is an option complete in the list of actions. So you will see it basically otherwise as a complete capability, if you have the right, of course, for that. So I don't remember if the teacher has the right. Where is the teacher now? Here? No. Sorry, but this is what it does. It appears this one is the teacher. The green. So if I go back, the same capability is given in the complete, but it's a pop-up in these two sections, two actions. Usually you do in two different time points. Okay. So this is the next one. Let's go next. We have done this. We have done also this one. I will leave the private lesson because it's. Let me tell a few words about the private lesson. This is quite big. And since we don't have a lot of time, I will just refer to the rest. The private lesson, it is a capability of having lessons one-to-one, charge them per case, per session. So I do a lesson, cost let's say 20 euros per hour, then I charge 20 euros to the student, and then I can also do a report to calculate how much money I have to pay to a teacher based on the private lessons they have done. So it's a feature used very much in training centers and this kind of organizations. Now it's combined with groups, it's combined with sessions, it's combined with services, and it's in the billing part. Also, you can create automatically charges very fast. I will not present everything in detail. Whoever needs that, we can send a manual, or they can contact us to help them to configure this. In the financial settings, in the general settings, you can go and enable. Let me show you. I'm in a school year, so I need to go here. Sorry, financial settings, general settings. You have the private sessions parameters. You enable it. If you want to update also the student as a present, so basically you can have attendance taken also for this one. The normal attendance you have in the sessions. You need to take attendance per session for that to work. When you charge, when it's completed, and what is this is if you change the status when you do the completion of the session. So this is in the session. When you do complete a session, then basically it finalizes the private lesson. And here, this one is when it's finalized for that completion status, if it's going to charge it. Okay. Now, by the time you do this, you get here the private sessions list. In the private session list, you can have plans and private lessons. So you can view plans and sessions and then some groupings. So in the plans where we are, it's basically a plan that we are going to do mathematics year 6 with the student for the next period of time. We don't know how many times, but every time then we can create a new private session for a specific date. So how do we create a new plan before we go there? So we create a new session plan, and basically we say the subject that is going to be done. So it can be English year 6. A new class will be created automatically. So it auto creates class, or I can select a class. Classes have now a special bit, a special flag that are private session classes. By the way, that means here in classes, you have now a new filter if you want the normal classes or the private session classes. This is the normal, and this is the private. So here is the private session classes. We have only one right now. Okay. Then it's what is the normal time usually? This is a default time, but of course this can be changed. That will be charged for 60 minutes. You can write a description. We can define a class we want this to be. Then we can say if this is charged, and if it's just per hour. And the default price, let's say 10 euros, and the cost for the teacher is 8 euros, and the classroom cost is 1, so we make 1 euro per hour. Then we can select the student we want to participate on that, so we can go and select, let's select the Greeks. On all that, you can press Control and select multiple lines in this drop down. That's a hint that is good to know. And then you can save everything pays, if it's null, then use the default. Otherwise, you can say this one pays 10, this one pays 11, this one pays 14, and this pays 12. So you can be even different price per student. And then who does this? Our favorite Borg does this. Actually, two teachers can do it also. And then the cost of the teacher is €8. You see, it will cost us €8 per hour doing private lessons. So this is kind of a plan. Based on this plan, we can come and create a session and a specific date, specific time, and which we can change it, specific set of students. Now, of course, we can have students not coming and so on, so we can do something different, but this is the plan. So let's make this for today. So here, the private lessons, we have the list of private lessons, and this is the English. In here, we can see show who are invited here. We can select all of those. We can say, we can set that's paid as present, so they were present. The teacher was present. All these are used because we want to charge them based on this information. And then, of course, we have the session created back. We have the classes. We will go to the classes here. Such a new class has been created. So you see here that there is a new subjects. Now the students are not defined in this class because students, they may be in one private lesson, not in the next one. They're not always the same. Okay, so it is empty of students. That is one difference between the normal class and this one. And then we have the list of sessions coming here. So we have the session for today in Mathematics 6. So let's select sessions. Borg. English. Let's select Borg today. So we have this one, which is a private one. Yes. And if I click on this, that can also be done by Borg actually, which is the most normal, because the Borg will go directly to the session board where all this basically happens. And we can take attendance from here, and we can say that this is completed. By the time we say completed, this is done. We can add assessments and whatever I do in a normal class. Okay, you can create assessments. We can add files. I can say what I did in the course planning, the subject planning. I can take attendance. I can do this online meeting in Zoom or WebEx or Teams. I can take some ups and downs. I can add daily marks. By the way, here, for you that you don't know, we have new capabilities. However, not to the subject. I will show you in a second. You can mark with different ways on a daily basis. So once this is done, this is finished. Then what we can do is we can charge this to the student, and that will be charged in the service. So for that to work, we need to have a service that is called private lessons or something like this. And that has a specific category, private lessons one. And the important thing here for you to remember is for that to be configured correctly is you need to have a category which type of private course charges. So if you go here to the list of services categories, extra curriculum services categories, so you go to the services, you go to the categories, and you will see that you have the private course charges with private session checkbox. That is important because that means that we charge it based on sessions. And then the student will have the information about private courses, so in the enrollment, the student gets the private lessons. We have the list of private sessions here. We can select all of those. we can set as postpaid, and that will inform the financial arrangement and suggestion of what payments I need to pay. So it will come here 40 euros based on what I've done. Okay, and that will be charged for the month of this December, because all the lessons are done in December. So the system automatically will come and basically fill in everything. Okay, so this is about the private sessions. Then we bill normally, invoices, receipts, whatever you want to do, and you can manage from here. Let's go next. The next one is related to extracurriculum activities. A lot of changes here. Let me try to. Theodorus, we have 1 hour or 1.5. I don't remember how long we have. Let me check. We have 1.5. Correct. So I do have some time more. So extracurriculum activities and services management. So let's go to discuss what we have added here. Quite a lot of things. First of all, in the services here, keep in mind that the extracurriculum services can be used for managing the afternoon things or things that are not in the normal daily program of your institution. In a higher education, it can be clubs, can be things, dormitory charges, things like that, library charges, whatever you want to charge or monitor. So far, we don't support much of the academic management of that, apart from taking attendance. In the new version, we combine the extracurricular services with special subjects. Like that, you can enable full academic management of this, including mainly descriptive marking, which is not supported in this version, will be supported in the next one, and a few other things. Now, from services point of view, cost billing point of view, you can use the services to charge students for per usage every time they use it, per day, per week, per month. You can charge this based on the private lessons we did before. You can charge based on the books they buy. So the books they get from the library, or the books they have from the subjects they get enrolled, it will lead to some charges for the books and a few other things. So that is it's a section that can be used for so many different things. It's related also to transportation and so on. First of all, this is a list of the different activities. So let me open one activity. So let's find chess. Now you will see here that one of the things is that we can auto-create a subject. So it creates a subject that basically creates an academic subject for that activity. So some activities can be just for charges. Some of those that you don't care about any academic monitoring, apart maybe from attendance. And then if you need academic monitoring, then you can add a subject. And then when you add an educator here, you get the educator also for that subject. The next thing you see here is if you have the timetable, you can go and enable specific hours for this service to be executed. Be careful. The periods you see here, you can define them in the academic settings, timetable periods, but for a period to be there, it needs to be activated for services. So in any period, here you have that this is to be enabled for services. Otherwise, it's not there. It's just for the normal timetable, for the normal things that happens in the school. Here is a list of students who are enrolled to this one. For any student, we can see if they do it, in which days they do it. Students can be initially with no program, no plan, and then you add them to each plan. So this is one of the differences, more or less, between the normal subjects and planning, class subject and activities, which allow basically students to be ad hoc here and there in different times of the week. And this is one of the reasons we use the services also. Here we have added also a lot of bulk actions. like stop and remove activity, change pricing category for student. So how much we charge. For example, you can have a charge for 1 hour, for 2 hours per week. That is 2 pricing categories. You can have 2 activities, so 1 activity with 2 pricing categories. And then you can also change class. By the way, this is something that we had in the past, but now it's more advanced, which is basically if you want to enable classes for the activities. So you have specific classes, not the normal one, which is only for activities. Okay, you can, if this is a drop down, you can go to the services drop downs and enable, create classes there, and then associate classes to specific activities only. So this is services groups. You can create here the classes, so the services, and those will be can be selected and used in any activity. Now, a class can be associated with a classroom and with an educator. Okay, and it has a limit of students also per class. So this is one thing we have here. Another thing that we have added here in the services is related to some views. So you can see the views per service per week view. So you can see based on the timetable we have created each day what services we run, which is basically important for the extra curriculum activities. So you can see here all the information and what times we do it and so on. Then the other important thing related to the services is what you see in the student form. Sorry, let me open Grixty here. Not in 23, sorry. Yeah. So if you go to the services here, you will see that we have done some extra work on the logging of changes on the services. For example, let's go to the Cricut. In the history, you see when they started, and then this is a timetable. And when the timetable changes, a logging of the old timetable exists. So we know that from the beginning until a specific day, we have this timetable, and then the timetable changed. So we know the login of how things are changing. How do you change the timetable of a student? Go hours here, and you say that I want him to follow this one, and then you can select classes if they exist. Okay, and of course you can go and remove any old hour and so on. Another thing that you can enable in services is price categories. This is done on billing. That will be also, you can change price category there from 1 hour to 2 hours, from this charge to the other charge and so on. All these then influence also the information in the arrangements, and you can do recalculation of the charge of the service. So this is a few things that are important about this. And the last one is what I presented before, students per service, weekly view or normal view, where we have a lot of tools. So in the students per service here, we added all the different filters about the service and so on. By the way, now remember that, let me show you this firstly. So this is students per service. You can group it per service title, per description. You can see it, how they look like. You can filter this based on the different categories here. You have a lot of filters here. You can filter per service class, per service price category, things like that, per days that somebody has it. Then you have a lot of actions here. We can go stop, start, change the price category, change the class in a bulk. So you can do all these changes. And similarly, you can go to the view of services per week, where you have all this information. Keep in mind that transportation services are very well connected from one to other. You can see all the grids, you can see all the other information, which is important for you when you plan all these things. So here you have the view per week, again with a lot of bulk actions, change, stop, and so on. Okay. And with some advanced filters, again, similar to the previous one, but more specific to the services now. That's all about the services. Let's go now and discuss a few other things. I will skip that one for the time being. Let me check the rest. Themes, you should know that in my profile, you can select how I like cluster to look like. If you don't know that, you can suggest to your users. So high contrast or contrast. Let's use this one. Save. So this is my theme here for contrast. The next one is multi-present attendance categories. That is something that's from a number of customers because now we have students that due to COVID, they may attend using Zoom or Teams, and some students are in the class. So I have two categories of present in class and present online. How do I do that? So basically, when I'm going to take attendance, you see here, now I have present here, category present. So I want two presents. I present online and present in the classroom. So before that was hidden. That was switched on once you press absence. Now this is always on based on the setting. And what you need to do is to create a second category, which is called present online and present in class. So we need those two things. So let's make it data settings. Drop down list. So I have the categories with the present, we make it present in class. Save. And then add a new one. It is again present. Online. How does cluster know that this is presence and not absence? It's because there is no checkbox. Okay. So if I have done my job correctly, like I'm here, I suppose I have two options now. Once I change period, I go back always to go where I was before. And I think I have done it. Let me see. Yes, present online. So I can select. It's still present. No change. Just I can select with what I want. Next one. Annual results. Now, for you that you use annual results, first of all, let me explain about 2 words about annual results. Annual results, it's a calculation for the end of the year of the progress of the result of the students, the overall GPA or annual mark of the student, which can indicate if the student is allowed to go to the next year, if they can progress in the curriculum, move from year 1 to year 2, and so on. It used in both in K-12 and higher education. The methodologies used are different, but the processes are very, very identical. Now, what we do with the annual results, we take the term grades from the grade book. So for you that use the marking, basically in per term, per semester, per term 1, term 2, whatever quarter, we go and add marks in the term marks. Now, the annual result will pick up those marks, will do calculations, and will finalize the marks per semester or per term, and then the overall marks per subject and the GPA for the year, and save those in the specific annual result tables. Till now, those tables are read-only. There were no way to see, just we could see the results. You could not do any editing cluster. Now, we have decided that we will do a step forward and will give to the admins the right to go and play with these marks and change them, provided that you have the right, of course. Why so? Because there are always some cases that you need to do some small tricks and tips here, or something is very strange and you want to play with the marks and fix it because this or the other reason. And the result of that is you can do new things with the annual result marks. Now, the annual result marks, they are presented here. So you have here the different marks, and you can select the students. Let me see about the Greek team here, and here he got 90.2% overall mark for the year. The data here exist only if I calculate annual results. Okay, here you can remove overall progress on the period. So basically what it does is remove everything and lets you do it, if I'm allowed. You can also change status here manually. If the system doesn't change status automatically, you can change status manually. Keep in mind that this is different from the promotion status, which is in the here I can select one more students and change here the different data. Okay, so let me do it only for one student. So here you have the data, and at the bottom you have the ability now to edit on your results for each term and the overall result. So that is something that you have the right to do it. Allows you to do small fixes or even go to create annual results yourself if you want. I don't know. You may have calculated that you want to add them manually. So you can do whatever you want. Okay. So this is the new things in the annual results. There are other things that are smaller. I'm not going to cover now, but this is a major stuff you have to know. Assessment notification and assessment scheduling calendar. That is also, by the way, let me show you a few things about the teachers here, which I forgot. Teacher, where is the teacher? Here. In the teacher form, we do have in my students, basically the list of students you see, you have got the new list of students we got in back office employees, you got also for the teachers. So teachers now have the ability to go and change the columns, you have more data to see and so on. So the ability here to play with that is exactly the same as what the secretaries do. Okay, and again, you can add here even the financial data. You can add it if you allow the teacher to see it. Okay, if they have the access to the module, and when you open, you have also the views here. By the way, per subject, per class, per educational program, per consents, so they can see the consents of the students. Now, that is an important thing. What consents can they see? They cannot see everything. You need to enable that. So you need to go here. Any consent or admission document is visible to the, let's go to the consents better, to the teachers, only if this is switched on. So this is per consent. It is visible to educator. Okay, visible to admins, visible to educator. Now you have enhanced consent for admission. You see now we have some new checkboxes here. So you can hide it for admission, but have it for the admin, so they can fill it in. And you can have it also available, visible to the teachers to see it. They cannot change it, they can only see it. My God, let me close few tabs. Sorry for that, guys. So here you have all the different views and the services also and filters. So you can see, tell me who of my students, they do this service or the other service, things like that. And then you can also see here, the tabs here, they are also configurable. So now you can set what tabs the teachers see, what tabs the back office employees see. And I have more information here about the medical information and so on. So this is another set of changes here. Now, in the assessment list, in the scheduling, I have the ability now to see, I have view here, but in the back office employee, you see the difference? I have added a new thing, which is a calendar view of assessments. So view, calendar view. So I can see it as a calendar for a period of time, not, sorry. Let's go to the 21. The black one, where is it? 21 to 2. I will go back now. Wait. Okay. So that was cast before. So in the assessments, assessment scheduling, search calendar view. So now I can see all the different assessments in a calendar view. And there is a set of new things related to the assessment and the configuration here and how I manage. So one of the things that we have added here in the configuration, it is in the marking settings, assessment types, the ability to send emails to employees, okay, and the template you used. So when I schedule an assessment, an employee receives an email. A scenario, for example, is that you send this to somebody to print it. So the secretary prints I create as a teacher, and the secretary receives it to print it. Okay, so we give it. In the new version, we have more extra things here. So it can be different template when we edit, when we send, when we create it, and so on. So here we have a set of things. And also we have new things like that a teacher can see the assessments even if he hasn't created that, as long as the teacher teaches this one. So for co-teaching things, quite a few other things also added, so like automatic marking sending. Today I can send the marks as a teacher, but I do it not automatically. I can send the marks from here, method with template to send the marks. In the new version, that will be completely automated, if you wish, of course. Yes, I think we covered most of those. So this is bold. Then we have the new integrations, and then we'll spend some time about the billing and discuss about new things. In the new integration, I will not say much. The only thing I will say is that we're working for new things. Few are already in the application in the new version, like HubSpot and WooCommerce integration. New things come. DocuSign, it's an older integration, probably you already know. So you can send any contract to be signed electronically. HubSpot can be used for HubSpot CRM, or even with a free edition. WooCommerce can be used to create your eShop and sell courses, and then integrate with Cluster. And more will come in this area. And a new thing that comes in integrations at the beginning of the next year is Turnitin for assessments, in order to do check of the content using Turnitin for plagiarism. So in the financial settings, we have done quite a lot of things. Also, for you that you probably haven't seen everything, we have done new filters in financial overview and new capabilities, and more are going to come here. We are still working on that. So now you can have student filters, you can have installment arrangement filters and comparison filters. So you can do a lot of filterings here. If you set this, there is a new actions here, like change the status, set the financial notifications. Those existed, but they got some improvements. In the arrangements list, we have new groupings, and more they are coming. That are new stuff here. Now, a few other things is that we manage of checks now and promissory notes. So if you receive check promissory notes, you can manage in Cluster, you can register and see what is paid there. In the transactions here, we have done quite a few improvements in the online payments, import of online payments from Excel. Basically, if you have an Excel with transactions from the bank, or you want to migrate data, here you can do import. And then we have quite a few improvements here that you can, I'm not going to describe, but new things, new capabilities. Those capabilities are related to the settings that can be added into the online payments. So in the e-payments, for example, here you can specify how you want this to be paid, then what is the default pre-selected things to pay, so overdue payments only, the automatical addressing of payments, and a few other things that have changed here. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. One thing that we have done is the reduction scenarios. Reduction scenarios is basically how we reduce the price if you start late or you leave early. For the time being, this is related to the years and to the grades or programs configuration. So basically, you can go and create reduction scenarios and add them to the year. So here is the reduction scenarios. In the drop-down list, you can add the reduction scenarios and create one, and those can be used to change, to modify the price or modify the reduction based on date. So you can say, for example, if somebody starts from 1st to 10th of the month, then pays normal of the month, 10 to 20th pays half of the month, 20 to 30 pays that doesn't pay the month, and that you can make it through the year based on dates, and you can create a reduction scenario 1, and this scenario can be different per year. And once you create that, then you can put dates, reductions from that to that date, that much reduction. So you say from 0 to 10, from 1 to 10 of September, no reduction. 10 to 20, 1%. 20 to 30, 1.5, and so on, until you reach May, which is 100% reduction. So you create these scenarios, and those scenarios then are added into the years, into the as properties to the any year, and then in the calculation of the reduction in the billing plans is going to be used. Another thing is special price categories. So in the pricing categories here, we can create pricing categories that the price is calculated by the number of hours of the subject you have. So I will not spend too much time, but you have this pricing schedule system where you calculate how many hours per week a student does. Based on the hours, the price is different. So from 1 to 10 hours per week, this price, 10 to 20, another price. That can be done now using a special price category. That is another thing we have implemented. Yeah, that is basically all the important stuff we've done so far for the last 3 months. What is coming next? A lot of things. One thing we've done, and I don't know if you've realized that, is now if you go to a CK editor, so you go to write, for example, a message, and you have a CK editor here. Okay, so you can copy paste any photo. So let me make a print screen of my screen. So I have this one, okay, this one must be removed from and then I can go and copy this one. Now, that basically means that this photo is now added as a separate photo in cloud, in Azure, and before we do so, we also do now check if this photo contains pornographic material or anything else that is not appropriate for this type of software. And that is a new operation that we do. So that is uploaded now as separate. It's not part of the data. It is external file that is created, and that basically will enable us in the second route of development to go and do streaming of large files, so you can do chatting and start sending big files from your mobile, because now we implemented the whole streaming operation and the control of all this information outside the database. Another big thing we do, and you will see this within the next 2 months, is the new UI in the message inbox, where we're going to support for folders, archiving, filters, read, unread, flags, things like that. So a lot of improvements in the message inbox. I have already talked about this, the descriptive assessment of activities. We have done a lot of work for higher education, for entrance exams, or even for K-12. If you have a lot of entrance exams, admission people who have to do online exams with quizzes, if you want to write, do assessments and give projects for them to return before you accept them to your school, that are new stuff that is going to be in the new version of the admission module. For the teachers, we create the same way we have admission documents and consent for students. Now we have it also for teachers. By the way, I forgot to say that the new mobile app already supports consent answered by students and parents from the mobile. The new stuff, this one is going to be added now for consents, answering consents, teachers answering consents. Okay, it can also be used for small questionnaires sent to teachers in the form of consents, yes, no. The availability grids and lists for the students is another big thing that we added, and the personal data grid, so more views, teachers list with more information. In the teacher portal, we are going to add the capability to manage files in the group. We are going to add to give more data to the student list and the ability to more data into the student academic form. This one I already described, the ability to see assessments that are scheduled from other teachers who teach the same course with me in the same class. Copy quiz from one year to the other, so I have a quiz from one year, copy to the other one, And the quick search button, guys, this blue button here, that a lot of you love it, it's going to be to add it to the teacher portal, this one. Not exactly the same, but this one. We're going to add files also in the parents relatives companies. Today you can add files, but they don't appear in the back office. We have a new refactoring the student cards. You can also use the new version of creating reports per student to create student cards. So we have some reports you can manipulate as FDM reports, Microsoft FDM reports, to create specific student cards. And the language, now it goes out of map settings. It is part of the profile. Each student can define the language they want to use when they use the system. The HubSpot integration is going to be finalized. We are going to be able to create events in Teams. This is undergoing. Still, it's question mark if we're going to deliver that soon enough, but probably if not this round, next round, it's going to create automatically Teams meeting and Teams event via Outlook, basically, and synchronize Outlook with Exchange Outlook. In the student form, we can have a bulk download of admission documents and files, so you can go and download all the files from a student and see them. New things in the parent-student meeting, so any slot can be, we can say as a teacher that this slot is only for this class or this year or that year, and also in any slot can be associated with a specific CRM meeting, CRM action. So this one can be for online meetings, this slot can be for in-house meetings, in-campus meetings. So this kind of configuration is coming. In the mobile app, we have a new logon process, or we change the logon process, a lot of problems with that, we know. The presentation of timetable and the teacher consents are coming. Next version, spring, financial information and hopefully payments. We will discuss that. A lot of improvements in co-teaching substitution are coming. In the timetable, you can take, like you have a lesson that is 10, 11, 11, 12, then a 1 hour break, and then 2 to 3. You can connect all this and say this is one lesson. So you take attendance only once, for example. New process for exporting transactions to general ledger and external accounting. We already have a lot of things there, but now we are doing a factoring finalization of this process. The ability to have new things in the subjects, like prices per subjects, quick search for a subject to find, like in the quick search, to find the subject and open it. In the parents and the student portal, in the homework, we can also have homework for a specific day. So you can give me the homework for Thursday, and it gives you whatever is for Thursday. And in the colleges and higher education, the feature we have already in K12, we can have one subject or module be taught in 2 different groups or classes. So the same module in 2 different classes. Use, for example, we have the same module, then we have theory and we have labs. There are 2 different groups, the same module. Okay, so this is basically what we want to achieve here. So a lot of new other things coming actually. The major stuff for next year for us is mobile app, number 1, more improvements in admission, number 2, and automated payments. That basically means that the parent or the student adds a credit card and the system is going to auto charge based on the financial agreement automatically. No need to run after payments anymore. The idea is to automate all processes. This is our vision. This is what we want to achieve. So that's all for the time being. Quite a lot of information, hopefully useful information for you. We can spend 10 more minutes. If you have any question, please let me know. Okay, I have to admit this Q&A, it gives me always trouble because I always open the chat. Yeah. Yes. Today, Christopher says about a comment about the inbox. Let me first of all tell you that our goal here is not to replace any email server or Outlook or Gmail messaging. It is impossible. We are not a messaging software. We are not a messaging company. And of course, in such a big platform like Cluster, focusing too much on the messaging is a problem. However, we realize also that messaging is used very much by Cluster, and few of the features we offer, like the security who can send to who, or the full tracking of all messages per user, per student, per parent. It is something that is very valuable and a lot of people want it. The major stuff that we don't have today and is when we send emails, not internal messages, emails, the reply doesn't come back to Cluster. Okay, so that is something that you have to keep in mind. This is not something that is going to change that easily. We want to do that, but it will take some time, more resources. But the idea is that we keep the internal message. So the internal message is done in Cluster. We improve that. You are notified by email that you can open and see the internal message, and then you have more capabilities in the inbox. So we need to do more work there. We realize that, and we definitely are going to have more stuff that is interesting and nice for the end user to coming into the messaging area. So yes, question if it's possible to send it as BCC. Why is it limited to employees? Suppose the question was before, and that was related to sending messages, reports, and so on. You do CC to employees. In reality, it says CCs, but it's not CCs because any message goes as a separate message. So you send a message to, let's say that you select 10 students and you send to 10 students. 10 different emails will not go one email. And the email always clusters works like this. Okay, every time you send a message, the message is split into separate emails. That is what Cluster is about. It's not about the same thing that in Outlook you select 10 students and send a message to 10 students. And even if they are BCC, the message is only sent once. We send separate emails. And that is done because when we do bulk emailing from the school, we don't want things to be spammed. So always a different email. The CC to employee means that basically we send one more email with a copy for each student to the employee. So it is not that the student will see or the parent will see the CC there. They will not see it. Okay. Now, CC to parents, you probably mean that you send to students and you want to send to parents also at the same time. In reality, what you can do is you send twice. You send first to the students and then send to the parents. That is identical to CC in parents. It could be done with CC. That actually makes sense. It's a good comment, but it can be done. It can be done twice. The admission process, as I said, this is a part of the next version, the quiz. The question is, does one have to assign the satisfactory or other quiz individually, or can it be automatically part of the admission application process? The answer there is you can do this right now. The satisfaction or survey for the admission is done. You can do this in bulk, but basically the idea is to do one by one because you need to give the answers at the same time. So in the near future, that will be part of the process of the application. So when you send the application, you will be given to answer the quiz. In this case, that will be done automatically. You will not need to do anything. The question is about the grids. If the admins can change the views and the grids and save this to student roles and or other roles. The answer is no, yes, no. Today this is not possible. The end user has to do it. The other question is if there is any plan to add an editor for reports for users to create. Now, if you have the single DB, you can download the reports and open them in Microsoft Report Builder. You can modify them and upload. It is not the best, definitely it's not the best approach, but this is what we have today. The creating another report mechanism which is online based, it is in our plan, but not for 2022, probably the year after that. Is it possible to disconnect date format from a chosen language? That's a correct point. We should do it. I will suggest send a ticket to the support. As we collect more requests of the same thing, that takes higher priority. We will definitely do it. All right. If there are no more questions, thank you very much for your time today. Let me see, there is a new one, I think. No, Christopher asks if the admin can change the list of available fields so the user can go there and select. So the list basically is not. Now, the answer is a bit more complex here because the truth is that based on the module the user sees, the fields, the list of fields is different. So if a user doesn't see financial data, financial module, then the financial icon, for example, will not be there. Okay, so yes, you can change that based on the role, provided that they don't see the specific whole module. Not there is no feature like from that list what they can see. We need to add this in the near future, but not yet. Okay, guys, thank you very much. One more new. Yes, a menu for files. Yes, that is something that we will definitely do. For the time being, just I suppose you know that, but let me describe in case you don't. There's this files button here. Per user, we can see all the different files from all different areas. Okay, so personal files of the student here, I'm a parent, the personal files of the student, and educational files from classes, from groups, and so on. So that icon here, this feature, is enabled in the core settings. Sorry, not there. Wrong place. General settings. In the basic customization, show personal files. So we will probably have the ability to have a files section where all this will be there. Yes, it's a correct point. Okay, thank you very much to everybody. Hopefully that was a useful session for you, and you know a bit better Cluster right now and what is coming next. We are going to repeat that quite often from now on. Probably every 2 months we will describe what's new in Cluster. With this video, everybody will be able to see things, and of course the what's new documentation will be updated. Thank you very much. Enjoy the day. Bye.